All right. Shalom, shalom. I'd like to start off by saying, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Kol Holoyim La Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wachak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that scattered abroad, the Akim and the Akwaf that's listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing that the lesson is edifying. So, Brother Shawab, I'm one back at you with another lesson. And going into the title, all right, false flags are being set everywhere. Shit about to go down, all right? And there's a lot of false flags going around right now on the web, all right, to bring in certain agendas, okay? We know great persecution is coming amongst our people, all right? You also have America doing certain false flags to blame it on Iran, all right, to further, reasons of war, okay. But one of the main things that they keep they're doing a lot in America, false flags, is to draw in a martial law, all right, and really that persecution amongst our people, all right. Let me grab a couple of these things. Let me grab a couple. Before I do that, let me grab this real quick. This is Proverbs 14. Select it. Proverbs 14 and 16. And it reads 15. It says, the simple believeth every word, but the prudent man looketh well to his going. All right. NLT says, only simpletons believe everything they're told. The prudent carefully consider their steps. Okay. So let me grab this also. In verse 18, it says, simpletons are clothed with foolishness, but the prudent are crowned with knowledge. All right. KJV says, the simple inherit folly, but the prudent are crowned with knowledge. All right. And we understand that folly is set in great dignity here in America. All right. This is why, it's important to have knowledge of wisdom. All right. To be able to discern these things, because we were given the spirit of discernment. Okay. This is Proverbs 14 and 24. The crown of the wise is their riches, but the foolishness of fools is folly. All right. So let me grab a couple of these different things that I've been stumbling across. All right, that I believe is, false flags, to basically mislead people, lead them in a certain direction. All right. So one things that I'm hearing a lot of right now that's all of a sudden all over, all right, is Netanyahu's death. All right. Definitely do not believe that one. All right. It says a person claims a major attack hit the home of Benjamin Netanyahu, and he may have been killed by falling debris. It is also claimed that Israel and the United States are hiding this news, which is why some say they will lose the war. All right. So, there's a whole bunch of different tweets on that. All right. You even supposedly got Putin tweeting that he's his death has been confirmed. All right. I'm gonna tell y'all straight up, he ain't nothing happened to him. All right, because a person like that's wanted, all right, and he's on mainstream everywhere, he know better than to be in just in the heat of his home, man. All right, especially that they said that they took out the leader from Iran. All right, so you already know that you're on the wanted list by Iran. Okay. But what I believe they're trying to do is he's trying to take the heat off of himself. All right, because remember, this devil's been exposed on a heavy level of what's been going on behind closed doors. All right, on top of what's going on with these Epstein files. All right, especially what these devils do out there in Israel. All right. There's a lot of things that they do behind closed doors, uh, concerning, things out here in America. A lot of children get snatched up out here, a lot of bloodshed out here in America that's based on what's going on out there in Israel, as they're taking children for certain reasons, as in adrenochrome and body parts. I ain't gonna go too much into it. All right, you should already know what these devils is about. All right, so a lot of the things is being revealed of Amalek, okay, along with Esau here in America. Okay, as a matter of fact, let me grab this real quick. This is Jeremiah 49:10. It says, "But I have made Esau bare, I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not." Okay, so NLT says, "But I will strip bare the land of Edom, and there will be no more place left to hide. Its children, its brothers, and its neighbors will all be destroyed, and Edom itself will be no more." Okay, let me grab this. This is Luke 2 and Salakia 12. That's what I'm going to bring out. 12:2. And it reads, "For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known." All right. And we're in a time that everything that was once hidden, all right, is being exposed by the prophets. All right. It says, "Therefore, whatsoever ye have spoken in darkness shall be heard in the light, and that which ye have spoken in the ear in closets shall be proclaimed upon the housetops." Okay. So there's no more secret. All right. This secret society, none of that shit it ain't a secret anymore, man. It's all being exposed by the prophets, because the Lord surely would do nothing but reveal his secrets unto the servants, the prophets. All right. So he reveals the secrets, the heavenly secrets, right? The righteous secrets unto us, but he also exposes the secrets of the left-hand side. All right. Because scriptures talk about how this word is a two-edged sword, right? Let me grab that real quick. This is 4:12. "For the word of Yahweh is quick," in the Hebrews, Salakia, "and for the word of Yahweh is quick and powerful and sharper than any two-edged sword, piercing even to the dividing asunder of soul and spirit, and of the joints and marrow, and is the discerner of the thoughts and the intents of the heart." Okay, so we can discern what's real and what's not. We could discern what's been, kept secret, and what can finally be exposed, right? And the intents of the heart. So we know exactly what this devil's mentality's been the whole time, even behind closed doors. All right, because we have the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah revealing what these devils is about. Okay, let me grab this. This is Hosea 6:5, and it reads, "Therefore have I hewed them by the prophets, I have slain them by the words of my mouth, and thy judgments are as the light that goeth forth." You see, I sent my prophets in the NLT to cut you to pieces, to slaughter you with my words, with judgments as inescapable as a light. Okay, and by us pretty much exposing what these devils have been doing, all right, this is why they're trying to do all these different cover-ups. They're trying to do all these false flags to take the heat off of themselves, man. Okay, so they don't want the world to know any more than what is being told, which is pretty much too late. All right, because everything is going to be revealed. Everything is going to be brought to the light. Okay, that's why everything's being brought to the light, and the light itself is being declared in these last days more than ever. All right, and the darkness can't comprehend the light. Okay, so whenever we're exposing them, all right, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah, becomes a dreadful sound to his ears. All right, so this is why they have to do things like cover-ups and false flags. All right, they'll feed you 50 cent and TIs, stupid things like that to keep you in a loophole of bread and circuses. All right, to hide what's going on behind closed doors. All right, whenever there's massive destructions, is because they're trying to hide things, and they're also trying to do things behind closed doors without you seeing it. Okay, and that's why you see a lot of like I said, a lot of 50 Cent right now is being exposed. A lot of rap all of a sudden is being brought back. Beefs between rappers, okay, that you haven't heard in a long time, okay. But that's all part of their tactics, all right, because our peoples is always caught up in music, movies, and sports, all right. So those are the three main distractions that they always use, all right, to keep us, away from what's going on, all right. So that whole Netanyahu death, I definitely believe is a whole lie. All right. I don't believe he's dead because I believe the Lord gonna preserve someone like that, preserve his ass just to put his ass into being the first fruits of slavery. All right, because he's part of these top banking families also. All right, he has a lot of ties to them. Okay, so I could be wrong. All right, he can end up being taken out also. All right, but I just don't think that he has a confirmed death right now. So that's one of them false flags that's being thrown up. All right, now you have going to some different ones. All right, you got the Texas man, all right, that was armed. Actually, this one says this is a different one, but you had the one guy that was supposedly a Muslim, all right, because right now they're talking about all these different sleeper cells, all right, and best believe there's going to be a whole bunch of scenarios with sleeper cells, all right, but remember, there's also going to be false flags thrown up to blame these Iranian sleeper cells just to bring in martial law here in America, all right, so right now you got one. It says armed Texas man in tactical gear arrested after going into elementary school through unsecured door. All right. So the guy that's in here, man, listen, they painting a lot of faces is Jake that they putting on the front page of everything. They either putting Judah or they putting somebody that looks straight Northern Kingdom, right? And if you look at this guy look like straight Northern Kingdom. All right. Let me see if I can hold it. I'll just take a screenshot. But this look like Northern Kingdom right there. Straight Northern Kingdom. All right. Look like someone that if you put a garment on him, all right, he look like one of the brothers out there in the highways and hedges. All right. So look here. Let me get out of that picture I just took. So it says armed Texas man in tactical gear arrested after going into elementary school through unsecured door. All right. And these are things that they're going to use. All right. They're going to say things are unsafe here in America. We need to bring in more force. We need to bring in more homeland security. Okay. So you have that going on. All right. You have another one with the Texas shooting. They had put a so-called black man on the face as the face. Right. And basically it was at a bar. I think he took out like 13 people, something like that, or injured 13 and killed a couple. All right. And it was a massive, massive shooting, they were saying. Okay. And what did they put in the front page? They put a so-called black man. All right. And supposedly he was running around with a Allah, I love Allah shirt on. Okay. Which that was definitely a false flag. All right. Let's grab, let me see what else we have in here. Matter of fact, yeah, this is the one I'm talking about. It says Islamic terrorist gunman wearing shirt saying property of Allah and an Iranian flag opens fire in horrific attack in Texas. Christians call for prayer and justice. All right. And it was basically a deadly bar shooting. All right. This was maybe about a week and a half ago, which I did a video on it, but just using this as, different false flags that are being pushed out. Okay. And the fact that they use, Judah on the front page, that nigga look nothing like a Muslim, all right, at all, all right. And they're going to use a lot of Judah too, because if you look, I was thinking about this yesterday, a lot of our people go to jail, man, get locked up, all right, especially Judah being the top one being thrown in jail, all right. A lot of them go to jail, and what do they become when they're in jail, man? They become 5%ers, they become Muslims and shit, all right. So it's easier for them to put you as the face, as to target you here in America, and you being part of, you know, that terroristic agenda that they got going on right now. Okay, because remember, they're going to try to tie us all back to this. All right, for the great persecution. Okay, this is another one right here. Let me bring it out real quick.
Bank Tower in Law. Pay attention and listen, because Larry Silverstein just purchased the U.S. Bank Tower in Los Angeles, and you can make millions from it, because this is the same person that ironically purchased the World Trade Center 2 months right before the 9/11 terrorist attack and made $4.5 billion in insurance right after 9/11, and he is about to do it all over again with the U.S. Bank Tower in Los Angeles. Now, if you dig deep,
and right now they're talking about how California, how you had the FBI warning people that California was going to be, it was going to be some type of terroristic attack going on concerning drones, all right, concerning sleeper cells. All right. And it just reminds me of what was going on in 2001. All right. You had you had a couple of airplanes that were hijacked. Okay. And they were saying that there were bombs on the plane, and somebody in there was talking about Allah, and they were saying that they hate Trump, they hate America. Okay. You got to look at the pattern, man. This is the same tactics that was being used in 2001, okay?
FBI warned the police departments in California that Iran wants to retaliate against America by sending offensive drones in Los Angeles. But let's continue down the rabbit hole, because on-chain trackers found Larry Silverstein's official crypto wallet, and it shows exactly which companies he's holding right now. And one of them is called Drone, which is the same company Larry Silverstein is going to use to collect a $50 billion insurance payout once the U.S. Bank Tower falls in Los Angeles. Now, the way we make millions on this is easy. We buy into Drone right before Larry Silverstein makes any moves in California. So we are positioned right before the $50 billion insurance injection, which, if you are holding on to Drone right now at a $3.1 million market cap and $50 billion gets injected, we're going to see Drone go from a $3.1 million market cap all the way to possibly a $25 billion market cap, which means if you are in right now, that will be the easiest 25,000x you would make to anything that you put in. This is exactly why I am going to do whatever it takes to accumulate as much Drone as I can.
Yeah, bro, that part we could care less about, all right, because we ain't even trying to invest in this society, all right, because we know that the dollar's going to collapse. We know that all that money, cryptocurrency, all of that shit is going to fall with the dollar, all right, because that's still transferable money, all right. The money that's about the digital currency that they're about to use concerning the MOTB and the RFID is going to be a different type of breed of money, all right. That's not going to be transferable, all right. That's just going to be between you and the government, all right, in the B system, basically, all right. So, you know, we know that Bitcoin, all of that, all right, is going to fall also with the dollar. All right. So we could care less about that. The reason they brought that out was to basically, gradually make you think that, normalize it, basically, Bitcoins and cryptocurrencies is to normalize what was to come with the digital currency itself. OK, so it's basically prepping you, all right, for what was to come. All right, so that's going to fall also. But the main point on there was that they want to stage a 9/11 attack. OK, and remember what they do with 9/11. They blamed it on, these Iraqis at that time. All right. And hey, they're going to try to blame it on these Iranians. All right, which it could possibly happen. All right, as a retaliation thing. OK, I just don't think that they're going to retaliate in that type of manner. That would just be kind of stupid. All right. And then we ended up finding out later in the years, because everything was being revealed, that 9/11 was pretty much orchestrated by your own government anyway. All right. So why would they even try to retaliate in that manner? All right. them sleeper cells is a lot smarter than that. They're not going. I don't think they will attack in that type of manner. They're gonna try to come after our hit us with cyber attacks. They're gonna try to hit us with banks. As a matter of fact, that's another false flag. All right, that it's kind of like a false flag, and it could be, you know, something that actually happens. They want to attack the banks next. All right, hack into the banking systems, and it kind of makes sense because right now we're in the time of everybody receiving their what do you call it, the what's that shit called that they do every year, the taxes. Okay, so a lot of people, you know, gonna be in for a surprise, getting hacked into their accounts, losing their money. All right, in the process of us, you know, already going through a collapse here in America. All right, so anything is pretty much possible, but I would believe that they would pretty much attack us in that manner before they would do it in a way like that. All right, like they did in 9/11. Okay, if there is any 9/11 type incident happening, it's going to be something orchestrated by your government once again. All right, in just another form, basically. So, you know, I would think that they will come at us through cyber attacks. All right, pretty much hacking into our systems more than anything, which they have the power to do that. All right, because they even had the power. I believe they just hacked into the Epstein files also, and they were revealing, Iran was revealing a lot of shit that was going on through the Epstein files. That's why, another reason why they kind of went into war on top of oil, you know, on top of the fertilizer seed that they've been going after. Okay, also because they have been hacking into those files, all right, and exposing them on that level. All right, so what else we got here? There goes, this is another false flag. All right, it says active shooter at Old Dominion University leaves 2 critically injured gunmen found dead. All right, and those, when you hear those, that the gunman is always found dead, those are definitely always false flags, because this is just is always a coincidence, right? That there's a mass shooting, all these people get killed, and the fucking guy always turns on himself. All right. Why? Because it was all nonsense to begin with, man. It was just to, remember, they're trying to get more gun laws put out, all right, because martial law is about to happen. So when martial law happens, they're trying to get rid of as many people with guns as possible. All right, they want to confiscate all the guns. So when they do come with martial law, it's easier to gain control over the people. They don't have to worry about them pretty much shooting back, okay, having a way and a form to protect themselves, okay. So again, that just brings more gun laws. All right. So you're gonna see a lot of shootings, mass shootings, and then people turning on themselves, man. And then you never get to know the story of what the hell went down. You know, pretty much the news could just create its own narrative to the story. You see? So yeah, that's another one, an Old Dominion. Okay, let me see what they got here. It's a video.
Police cars there, you can see. And after injuring 2 people. Oh, this is in Virginia. And this is Old Dominion University. Police cars there, you can see gathered. A gunman is dead after injuring 2 people at Old Dominion University, according to officials there at the school. A gunman opened fire in Constant Hall at about 10:50 a.m. East Coast time. And officials are saying 2 people were hurt as a result. We do not know what their conditions medically are right now. This is all the information we're getting in right now. Oh, this is in Virginia. And this is
all right, so that's another one. All right, we got what else we got here? It's a lot here. Here goes another one.
Overnight, we learned the identity of the professor murdered at Old Dominion
University. All right, this is the Old Dominion. All right, same one. Now look at this picture. This looked like Jake again. All right.
Overnight, we learned the identity of the professor.
This is for that. This is part of the same thing I was just showing. This looked like Jake right here, man. Okay. That looked like straight Jake. Again, Jake looking like he at the front page. All right. So he's the victim identified in the deadly campus. All right, supposedly he was part of the army. All right, let's see what they got to say on this one.
Murdered at Old Dominion University, killed by a man with ties to ISIS.
Here you go. Killed by a man tied to ISIS.
Murdered at Old Dominion University. Overnight, we learned the identity of the professor murdered at Old Dominion University, killed by a man with ties to ISIS in what the FBI suspects was an act of terror.
We got cops running across. The entire police force of Norfolk is here.
Lieutenant Colonel Brandon Shaw fatally shot and 2 of his ROTC students wounded in the nightmare.
Salakia, so he's not the one that they saying was the shooter. My bad. They were saying he's one of the people that have been shot. Okay.
To unfold just before 11 a.m. Thursday.
We're getting quite a few calls in from ODU advising of an active shooter at this time.
All of a sudden we heard a commotion, we started running, and that's when we heard, gunshots.
Sources tell ABC News a suspect identified as 36-year-old former National Guardsman Mohammed Jallo walked calmly.
Look, that's the shooter right there. That looked like Jake.
Yes.
Look like straight Judah.
A suspect identified as 36-year-old former National Guardsman Mohammed Jallo walked.
Look, that look like straight Judah. Come on, man. They straight playing right now. All right. They setting the faces. All right. Because remember, everything is done in a psychological way, man. So the more they see a certain face being put out, all right, this shit don't look nothing like no Iranian Taliban ass niggas, man. No towel heads. When you go look at your Iranians around your area here in America, right? When you go to these gas stations, right? Those are the people that's what them people look like. Okay. The one that's talking to you, goodbye over there, that type of talk. Those be the type of people that be out in those countries, man. All right. They don't be looking like this, man. But they're using the face of Jake, all right, to put it, all right, in your minds that the terrorists look like them. You see, that look like Judah, look like, Northern Kingdom. Okay, because eventually what they're going to do is they're going to use they're trying to put us as domestic terrorists. All right, so when they come for the men of the Lord for the great persecution, all right, excuse me, that's going to be easier for them to put it on the news. Look, this is the faces of terrorists out here. All right, here they're preaching the Bible, they're preaching hate. They're speaking about Israel and America, all right? Because people are already getting arrested and getting, you can't even speak against these countries, right? You can't speak against the little hatters. You can't speak against America, all right? The problem with us is that, hey, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, all right, has our back. So to get to us, you're going to have to go through Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai first, all right? But see, if you realize a lot of these people that are not in tune with the Heavenly Father and they try to speak against Israel, all right, or America, things happen. Okay. So again, that's a face that they're trying to put there. All right, let me grab another one. This one right here. This is in Michigan. All right. This is a big talk right here. This is Michigan, man dead after crashing vehicle into Temple Israel synagogue with 140 people inside. Suspect reportedly lost his family in an airstrike in the Middle East. Okay, and look at the face again that they put in. All right, at least this one looked a little bit more like somebody that would be from out there. But even then, this guy looked like straight. Hold on, looked like straight Northern Kingdom. All right, hold on, let me open him. This is the face for that one. Okay, he looked like straight Northern Kingdom. Okay. Now, let me grab the video. Look at all these cops for these little hatters, little synagogue. Look at all them damn cops. Matter of fact, let me open this shit up. With all these damn cops, man. Anything for these little hatters, man. Take it beyond the limits. All right. So It says here, neighbors, this is a lot. It says this is a lot. Authorities say a man identified as Ayman Mohammed, all right, 41. It says is behind the violent incident that unfolded at Temple Israel in West Bloomfield, Michigan. Investigators say his last name is Gazeli, drove a vehicle straight into the synagogue, crashing through the doors and into a hallway inside the building. The vehicle eventually caught on fire after the crash. According to the officials, Temple security quickly confronted Ghazali after the vehicle came through the building. Security officers came through the building. Security officers opened fire and the suspect was ultimately found dead inside the vehicle. All right, of course. Authorities say he was also armed with a rifle at the time of the attack, though it's still unclear whether he fired any shots. Okay, says police say one security guard was struck by the vehicle during the crash and had to be taken to the hospital, but thankfully their injuries were not life-threatening. The synagogue also houses an early childhood center, and officials confirmed all 140 students, teachers, and staffs inside the building were accounted for and safe following the incident. All right, so if they were safe, what the fuck they have all them damn cop cars there for, right? If no one died or none of that shit happened, and the guy that did the crash died, all right, what the hell do you need all these damn cops for, man? Okay, but it's to look good on the news media, to look like, oh my God, wow, this world is falling apart. Okay, oh my God, we have to be fearing these Iranians and these terrorists and anybody that's speaking hate against these people out there in little hat world, right? Okay. It's all going back to this anti-Semitism, all right? Going back to the Anti-Defamation League, where they try to make it, you know, bring more hate laws upon the people, okay? This is what's going on right now, man. All right, because there's no coincidence. Shit like this happens every day, okay? But because we're in the middle of war, you see it being mainstreamed on a very high level right now, okay? So you got to take, you know, heed to that and understand it. All right. So what else they got here? Okay. So this is the one I was talking about. They are targeting all American banks tonight. You know, this was, let me see, this was, I think, 2 days ago. Okay. And regardless, all right, like I said, that's something that I would probably see Iran doing, all right, to try to collapse, you know, the society over here, because what they're doing out there in the Strait of Hormuz is basically trying to crash economies, all right, by taking control of the oil out there in that area, all right, and basically, you know, blocking off that Strait of Hormuz, all right, because that's a very heavy route that all these other countries use to, you know, bring in goods and take out goods. Okay, so there's a lot going on around that area, all right, with controlling society right now. Okay, but this is something that it says right here. It says, as of March 11, 2026, Iran has threatened to target banks and economic centers linked to the United States and Israel in the Middle East. This threat follows an overnight strike on an Iranian bank in Tehran, which Iranian state media attributed to the U.S. and Israel. Key details regarding this developing situation include the threat. It says the threat: Iran's Qatam al-Anbaya, something like that, military command headquarters announced that banks and financial institutions in the region affiliated with the U.S. and Israel are now considered legitimate targets. Okay. Oh shit. Bro, hold on. Major update. Give me a second. Hold on. I gotta wait till it goes back to where I was reading. So it says retaliation warning. It says Iran officials stated Americans should wait for our painful response, indicating a shift toward targeting economic infrastructure. All right. And then right now they just did with all this shit going on, they just dropped 5,000. I think it was 5,000 troops out there going to the Strait of Hormuz. All right, to try to pretty much go to war with Iran over there. All right, which I'm gonna tell you, a lot of the people ain't gonna make it back. All right, because supposedly they setting mines in the water. Okay, for reasons like that, because they know that America wants to go over there and try to attack and take over that area. Okay, because you had Trump saying that no one's going to suffer, all right, for the consequences of them blocking the Strait of Hormuz. Okay, which now you go into that territory. All right, that's just going to be a hassle for America, man, because you got China, Russia. A lot of these countries are backing up Iran, because Iran is allowing them to still deal through the Strait of Hormuz. Okay, as long as they don't have no ties with America, they're saying, okay, they're allowed to, basically go through and continue on with their, with their normal economy. Okay, and that's what makes America even more pissed off, because America gets pissed off when they don't have control of things, man. All right, so now that just puts more pride on your president to try to go out there and send all these extra troops. All right, which, like I said, a lot of them not gonna make it back. Okay, but it says going back, it says a civilian warning. It says Iranian authorities advise civilians in the region to stay at least 1 kilometer or mile, according to some reports, away from the tanks. I believe that's what it says, because his big ass head is in the way. Then it says, oh, Salaki, it says to stay away from these banks, not tanks. All right, then it says impact on, I think it says I can't see, his head's in the way. Impact on something, it starts with an M. It says following the threats, U.S. bank stocks slid slightly, and damn, man, his head is in the way. Let me see what he got to say, though. Maybe he's reading it.
Iran is saying that they're going to attack American banks tonight. And supposedly this already happened around America right now. Peep this video. Before I drop the video, I wanted to clarify that this is not bullshit. This is not fake news. But Google the shit for yourself and it'll show you. But yeah, watch this video.
Missing money. I'm also missing money.
Yeah, nah, see, it was behind him. I was reading what was behind him, and I can't. His head is in the way for the last 2 parts.
$200, and they're telling me to call customer service, and they keep hanging up on people. There's another person here. He's also missing money. So we're trying to see what's going on. Money's missing today, and we need our money. They're already telling us to call customer service, and customer service ain't doing nothing about it. So just a heads up.
So with all that being said, I advise y'all, if y'all getting any taxes, take out your money ASAP. Try not to leave it in there. I know nobody wants to carry money. All right, but it's the smart thing to do is just take out everything out of your banks, just in case, some type of, cyber attack or some type of, hack into the systems and banks. All right. And, at least you'll have your money on you. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it ain't the smartest thing to do, because you'd rather keep it somewhere safe. But what the fuck is safe here in America? Everything is collapsing. All right. So anything can happen at any time, man. And all types of hacks, all right, are being brought upon this place. All right, so it's not safe to keep any type of money in any type of banking system. You much rather have it in your hands. All right, even though the dollar's collapsing. All right, do what you got to do through actual hand-to-hand transactions from now on. So you don't be one of those that wake up tomorrow and your whole fucking bank account is cleared out. Because they decided to cyber attack, decided to hack into the systems, whatever. Okay. And that just happens on a day-to-day basis, even before all this happened, started. All right. There was always problems with the banks. All right. There's been occasions where I know people, their banks are cleared out and they go back to the bank and ask them what the hell happened. And the bank says, oh, there was a glitch in the system, so and they can't do anything about it, so those things can happen at any given time. All right. Last year, as a matter of fact, got hacked for my for wifey. Wifey got hacked for for her taxes last year. All right, and listen, man, we was fighting for about 8 months with the banking system, and they never reimbursed us. Literally got us for like $2,000, $3,000. All right, and we never got to see that shit back. You know what I'm saying? And they just came up with a runaround every single time. We kept calling and we're working on it. And it just gets frustrating after a while. And you're just like, man, forget this shit. You know, it is what it is. You know, to me, it was just I looked at it like just Satan trying to, you know, knock you off your horse, you know, get you pissed off and try to break character. And sometimes you just got to eat shit like that, man. You know, that's just something that we go through being in this damn society, man. This is part of our trials and tribulations sometimes. You know, every unfortunate situation is a trial of your faith, you know. So, you know, like I said, it's smart to just be taking out money out of the banks right about now. All right. Just leave. If you're going to use the card, use it for certain things. Just leave the amount that you need. That's why it's good to have certain cards where you could reload money if you have to. Because if you want to put some money on it real quick to use it for a certain amount, then you load up your card, use it, and then, hey, it's back to zero. You know, you don't have to worry about somebody coming and trying to hack your shit and taking money out without your consent. Okay, so that's the best way to use the cards nowadays. All right.
Experiencing this, please let us know, because this is not right. I'm missing $1,400 from my account, and they're telling me that there is no way they can help us. This guy's missing money too. This other person is missing money too. And you missing money too? There you go. So this is not something that's just one person. This is everybody's happening to them. And this is crazy. This is, bro, we had a major.
All right. So that one I wouldn't say is a false flag, but it was right in my face, so I brought it out. All right. But it's still something to be mindful of. All right. Let me see what is this.
Pay attention and listen, because
Sends warning to stock up on food and medicine now. Oh, yeah, this is a different lesson I'm gonna use that for. All right, give me a second. Hold on. I'm trying to find different ones that were red flags. Iran says we'll target banks tonight. No, that's the same one. Different one. Americans aren't ready for war. Target hopping on practice. Hold on, it's this one. Salakia. Give me 1 second, just bear with me. I pretty much hit, you know, ones that I really wanted to hit. Yeah, I pretty much hit them all. I know there's probably a bunch more that I got, but I got so much shit that I be saving for videos that they start piling up, and then I start losing them. I got to put them into little files. Oh, this is there was a Miami airport evacuation. This is what Miami airport was looking like
right now.
Just cleared everybody out, and there's been no communication about what for, but it's pretty drastic. See.
So I'll tell you right now, it ain't the time to be traveling. You know, a lot of people still trying to travel around the world, still trying to get on vacations. That's definitely not the time. This is not the time to be doing that at all. All right, because we're on high alert in so many ways. All right, so you could be somewhere and never come back. All right, that might be the last time you go out. All right, I do want to grab this one. Where is it at? Base. Oh, this one. This is the one I was talking about, the plane.
Sit down.
And that shit looked crazy to me because they ain't even seem like they were panicked on the plane. Like, like the way they even brought them down was kind of weird. All right, but yeah, basically the passenger causes panic on the flight after shouting bomb threat, death to America and death to Trump, basically. All right, and that was, I think that there was another one. This is the same one, I believe.
Yeah, this time we need everybody to have their heads down and hands up. Heads down, hands up. Heads down, hands up. Heads down, hands up. I need to see everyone's hands.
See, I'm trying to figure out if that was part of the same. Let me see. That was Southwest Airlines Flight 2094. Let me see what this other one was. Yeah, this might have been two separate ones because the guy that got arrested on that plane was not the same guy that got arrested. It's not the same guy that was yelling on the other plane talking about death to America. All right, so that might have been two separate airlines. All right, but that's what you see going on now. Also, you know, that goes back to 2001. All right. Yeah, so I'll pretty much leave it with those because y'all pretty much get the point. All right, it's just a lot of false flags, all right, being brought upon us, all right, for certain agendas. Okay, one for the persecution, all right, two to, you know, usher in martial law, more gun control. Okay. Oh, this is another one. A Muslim terrorist throw homemade bomb in New York City. So it's just another way to stir up crowds, man. All right. Another way to stir up crowds. This is another one that says truth about Iran. It says truth about Iran plot to detonate Amazon packages. All right. Detonate Amazon package bombs on American doorsteps as experts reveal twisted terror tactics that pose real threat. Okay, so yeah, now you got to be. That shit reminds me of the time of when we was in war with Iraq. All right, they had anthrax coming in through your mail, and people were opening up supposedly letters, and it had anthrax in it. You know, chemical warfare. All right, so now you got to worry about you opening up a fucking package of Amazon and there being a bomb in that shit. Okay, this is to create fear in the people. This is to gain control over the American people through fear. All right. One of the biggest weapons of mass destruction that these devils use is fear tactics, man. Okay. And that's why you're supposed to really be fearing Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai and not fearing anything of the world. All right. Because everything is controlled by the Heavenly Father. All right. So, you know, there's two different types of fear that people, that's out there. There's the fear of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, and then there's fear of what Esau tells you. Okay. We're not worried about what Esau tells you, because Esau is a liar. All right. He is one. Let's grab that. This is Proverbs 6 and that's pretty much, I ain't going to go to no more. I'm pretty much hit the point on those. All right. This is Proverbs 6 and 16. And it reads, it says, these 6 things does the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai hate. Yes, 7 are an abomination unto him, a proud look, a lying tongue. Okay. So, you know, Esau is known to be a liar. He's the father of it, as it tells you in John, the 8th chapter. All right. Verse 44. All right. You are of your father, the devil. All right. In the lust of your father, you will do. And that was really talking to our people that follow after the ways and lust after the ways of basically Esau. All right. But he said the lust of their father you will do. All right. Because he abode not in the truth. Let me just grab it real quick so I don't butcher it. All right. This is John 8 and 44. All right. And the scriptures also tell you that the wicked is estranged from the womb. As soon as they be born, they speak lies. All right. So that's all this devil's about, is speaking lies. All right. He's going to sow discord among brethren. He's going to be the accuser of our brethren. All right. When it comes to the time of the persecution. All right. But this is 8 and 44 in John. It says, you are of your father, the devil, and the lust of your father you will do. He was a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh of his own, and he is the liar and the father of it. Okay. So everything that comes out this devil's mouth is lies, right? This is Proverbs 6 and 16. Again, these 6 things that the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai hate, and yes, 7 are an abomination unto him: a proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood. All right. And Esau is known to shed innocent blood. All right. He'll always trying to find a tactic and a way to, take lives. Okay. And then he'll try to blame it on something else, try to wash his hands and act like he ain't do it. Okay. That's why this devil can't be trusted. All right. It says, and a heart that deviseth wicked imaginations. All right. That goes to him plotting evil. All right. He's always coming out with some type of plot. All right. To be able to find a way to bring death upon people, man. Okay. It says feet that be swift to run into mischief, a false witness that speaketh lies. Okay. And he that soweth discord among brethren. Okay. And he'll sow discord amongst our people, man. You know, that's why you got our people fighting against each other. You know, who you think is the one that does that, man? Esau makes us turn and fight against each other. And here it is. None of our people will stand up against Esau. Okay. That's why the Lord has picked certain people, all right, to be his men, all right, his prophets, all right, because they're the ones that are going to stand up against the workers of iniquity, against the evildoers. All right. Damn, my grades look crazy. Look like I got shit all up in my beard. All right. But, that's what he does, man. So he'll try to stir up things amongst our brethren, all right, to pretty much go against each other. All right. And hey, most of the time it works because our people have no knowledge. So because they're destroyed by knowledge, all right, they get caught up in the bamboozles. All right. They get fooled all the time. You see, that's why knowledge and wisdom is the stability of thy times. All right. Let's grab this and I'll pretty much end it off. This is Ephesians 5 and 15. All right. And it says, see then you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the times, because the days are evil. All right. So we know that we're in evil times. We're in very dangerous, perilous times. Okay. So we have to what? We have to walk carefully amongst everything, man. All right. And NLT says, so be careful how you live. Don't live like fools, but like those who are wise. Make the most of every opportunity in these evil days. All right. And this is why you're supposed to be in all holy conversation, man. All right. And holiness, being separate, as the scriptures say, be ye separate. All right. And the Lord said he will receive thee. So to be separate is to be holy, man, to be away from this world, this society. All right. Pretty much, focusing, all right, on Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. You're supposed to attend to the Lord without distractions. All right. Everything that's around us in society right now, especially the time that we're in, because we're so close to the end, is pretty much a distraction, man. Okay. Even as far as us being on social medias is a distraction, because the media is trying to find ways to distract you with AI, you know, with the confusion of all these different newses that are all over the place. You know, you don't know what to believe is real, what's fake. All right. But see, this is why you have brothers that have the spirit of discernment to discern these things and just bring it out to you, you know, and filter it through the scriptures. So like I was about to sneeze. All right. So we bring it out through the scriptures and we filter it for you, you know, and even if it's fake, you know, we'll still filter something through the scriptures, all right, to keep you on your toes. And eventually, if it's fake, it's going to reveal itself. Okay. All we could do is be watchmen and just keep watching what's going on. All right. And keep relating the message over and over to you, you know, telling you the same thing over and over, whether you like it or not, whether you're tired of hearing the same, you know, message. All right. But the message is being brought out for a reason, because it's all through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. It's the warnings. All right. Is the Lord reminding you over and over to stay circumspect, you know, in this time, we have to be wise as serpents, as harmless as doves. You know, we can't be out there trying to avenge ourselves. OK, we can't be out there trying to mix ourselves with these people. OK, because you mix yourself with these people, you're going to get caught up with these people. All right. Remember, heavy judgment is being brought upon the earth. So we have an understanding of these things. We have an understanding of what's going on. The prudent man foreseeth the evil, you know, and because we see the evil through the eyesight that the Lord has given us, right, we're able to hide ourselves away from that evil time. You know, we're allowed to escape from those times because we have the knowledge of the Lord, man. All right, because Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai has continually warned us over and over and over again, you know, to stay away from these things. Okay, that's why we're supposed to attend to reading, right? The Lord said, occupy till I come. So you're supposed to be occupied with this word, all right, to the best of your ability. Okay, it's pretty much an all-day thing. Okay, it becomes the way of life, man. All right, remember, we are given life. We were woken up from being in a dead state to being given life through this knowledge. All right, so now everything around us is the way of life through these scriptures. All right. And it might seem like a boring life. It might seem like, you know, you're not doing much, but you're doing a lot more than what you think, because you're staying out the way. You're separating yourself from the society, man. OK, because there's nothing here to offer you no more. All right. We're in heavy times. We're in evil times. All right. And this NWO is about to pop off. OK, this hour of temptation is right around the corner. That's pretty much what we're waiting for. All right. We're waiting for that total collapse of the society. All right. That's going to plunge everything into complete chaos. All right. And that MOTB. All right. To be made mandatory so we can get the hell up out of here, because World War III is already set in place, man. All right. These nations are already beginning. They're already pretty much hating America. All right. So until that MOTB is made mandatory, all right, that's when the missiles is going to fly. All right. So everything is set in place. The MOTB is set in place. Jacob's trouble's been already here. All right. It's only just going to intensify more and more. All right. You see the death and judgment that's being brought upon this place. You see how famine is slowly creeping upon this place now. You see how everything's about to start rising up with hyperinflation. You know, prices are about to go up. Man, on another level, it's going to creep so fast. Okay. So that's why we got to keep our head on a swivel in these last days. But that's pretty much the point. Just want to let you know there's a lot of false flags going on. All right. To bring in agenda. And, you know, at the same time, yeah, we do got to be circumspect with these sleeper cells and things like that, because they are, you know, coming to retaliate against America. There are going to be inside jobs that are done here in America. All right. Pertaining to 2 Ezra, the 15th chapter. All right. With the Carminians. All right. So there is going to be something popping off out here heavy. All right. And then on top of that, you got your own government that's always been the biggest crime mob of it all. Our own government has always been the biggest criminals. All right. And they're trying to wage war here on American soil amongst his own people. All right. And that's part of Jacob's trouble. All right. So just keep your head on the swivel. Just wanted to let y'all know. So with that being said, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Call Haloyim La, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Bachak Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect that scattered abroad, the Akim and the Aquat that was listening in. Yahweh Ratazah, Lord willing that the lesson was edifying. To the next one, Shalom. Keep fighting the good fight of faith, enduring as good soldiers of Yahweh Shai. Keep your heads on a swivel, stay prayed up, make no provision for the flesh. And a Bible ball real soon. Shalom.